Hello and welcome to episode number 73 of Columbus Local Podcast. I'm Len D'Amico, and this evening we have Gabrielle Johnston of the band Soul Revival out of Columbus, Ohio. Gabrielle, hi, how are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm so happy that you're here tonight.
So am I.
And, I haven't seen Soul Revival live, but I do know that you guys play a lot around town. And you're a working band, you're getting some fun gigs. How long has Soul Revival been around?
So we started in, I'm trying to remember now, I want to say it was 2016. And I've had I've gone through so many different musicians. I have had that revolving door problem. And, but it's been a really great learning experience. I was in a band before that I was just getting my feet wet and trying to figure out how to navigate and what to do and what not to do. And I had a partner that had the PA, but the guys I was playing with weren't responsible. They didn't practice. I had to tell them the keys to the songs every single gig. It just was really tedious. And I always say, I felt like I was jumping into a pool with no water singing with those guys.
Yeah.
And so I ended up walking away from what was left of this mess of that. And then I came home and I was very nervous about how am I going to start a band? What do I do now? And I was really freaked out. And my husband said, well, what do you need to make the band your own? And I said, well, I need a PA. And he said, well, how much does that cost? And I said, about a vacation of four. And so he said, then get it. He didn't even blink. And so I got my own PA and I started my own marketing and put the logo together and did all the things and set up a website. And then I just kept hiring people till I got it right. And it just took the longest. And I had what I thought was my permanent lineup going into COVID, and every one of them left eventually. So then I had a new partner, Brett Mitchell. We got to be friends and we started gigging together, and then he had his own band and I would sing with them. And then eventually I was getting asked to do gigs again because we were coming back out of COVID and I didn't have a band anymore. And so we just made this deal where if I sang, then we would call it Soul Revival. And if he sang, I would either not go at all or sing a set or whatever. So yeah, it's been a real journey in that regard, to have cause that ended. And then I ended up getting my bass player from him. I got my own drummer, and then, the bass player brought a guitar player, and now I have this perfect Rubik's Cube all in the right place.
All aligned. And you're the lead vocalist.
Yeah.
You front the band and you manage the band, it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
You're running this band.
Yeah.
It's your band.
I'm the cat herder.
You know what that's like. I've been there. I ran a band for a while myself, very similar, local cover band. Had a lot of fun gigs and whatnot, but it's a lot of work.
It's a hustle.
You want to make the players happy. You want them, and how do you make them happy? Gigs. Well, how do you get gigs? You gotta have a product, right?
Yep.
We have to be able to deliver. So you're starting at that beginning. I mean, that's a painful process. You've been through all that.
Yeah, getting people on the same talent neighborhood,
and make sure they're all
and
on the
give
same
and take
goals.
Humans. Yeah, they have to have people that like each other. Yeah, there's so many things that go into it.
Can you hang?
Mm-hmm.
Are you good? I mean, are you reliable? I mean, all that stuff,
Some people don't like to practice. Some people do like to practice. There's so many different
It's a lot.
factors.
There's a lot going on there, isn't there?
Yeah.
But you've overcome at this point and you're rolling forward. How many gigs you have in 2024?
So I only like to do 2 or 3 a month max. I'm not that Friday, Saturday, every weekend person. I'm too old for that. I really just feel I call it, my Danny Glover. I'm too old for that shit. But I just want to be able to spend time with my kids or hang out with my friends or go see other people play. So it's perfect. So I would say I'm happy if I get 16. I think I have 19 right now, 19 or 20.
It's still a working band though.
Yeah,
it's
kind of perfect. And
everybody's on the same page, right?
Yeah. And we have I mean, I have so much fun. And the whole idea of not having to beg people anymore to come. Like we're not getting 300 people a show. I mean, come on out, But I still feel like there are people coming to see us and like that don't know me. That aren't my other musician
you're on my
friends.
list. You're definitely on my list.
Yeah,
and,
I hope you can.
And I like
come out sometime.
I like Eldorados, and I like Buckeye Lake. I like you're playing all the places.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're playing 1532 at this point.
No, not yet.
But I'm sure there'll be opportunities, out of the 16 or so that you have coming up.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
This year. If I could. Beth she's been so busy.
Well, she's so talented.
I may have to go. Hopefully she'll be around. I mean, when she's out of town, I typically stay home. But I think that it'd be great to see you guys. And I think your reputation too. You were saying people come to see it because they've seen you once, and when they know you're playing somewhere, they're like, "Oh, that's gonna be fun. Let's go groove on that."
It's really cool.
Good deal.
It's been a lot of work, so it's nice to see some of it pay off a little bit.
Good for you. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. And what kind of material? How do you describe your band?
It's the biggest cop out, but I literally have a little bit of everything. So I'm from Cleveland. I have a lead guitarist from West by God, Virginia. And then I have my bass player's from Virginia, and my drummer is from Alabama. So here I am, this Yankee with all these dudes. And then two of them are John. The Johns both play everything. And then Glenn plays... actually everything too. He's a teacher at School of Rock. I think the one in Gahanna, if memory serves. Yeah. So you have to learn 18 million songs a week, and but it's really cool. They're all just so different, and they're all just like this mess. So we do Tom Petty, Pat Benatar, and then we play he'll play George Jones in Alabama and whatever, old school. And he has this beautiful, soulful voice, so it's like we just completely shift gears.
That's really cool.
And we throw a little bit of soul and R&B in there. There's just just everything.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
I really am. I think it'll be sooner than later.
Good.
You guys playing? What's your next show? Do you remember?
The Blarney on Friday.
That's right. I knew it was coming up. I thought it was pretty good timing.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's today's date?
Today's date 13th. 14th.
14th of May.
Mm-hmm.
14th of May of 2024, and it's funny I couldn't even. And then, so then this coming Friday, is the Barney Stone. Mm-hmm. Will you guys play in the patio, or will you be inside?
It just depends on the weather. I usually always end up inside, but I don't know.
Are you still using the same PA?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Mm-hmm. So that has served you well. Where'd you get it?
I ordered a combination of Sweetwater and Zounds.
Good on you.
Because you could do payments.
Yeah.
Because I had no money at the time.
I got it. Yeah, good
That's
for you.
why it's the same
and
PA.
It's still.
Yeah, I have a Carvin mixer,
service.
12 channel.
Oh, right on.
So I feel like that's my Led Zeppelin t-shirt.
the Carvin mixer? Mm-hmm. That thing's a tank. Mm-hmm. It's never going to go down.
Dropped it on the ground my first gig using it. I came out, and because I had been borrowing a PA for a while, the board for a while, and I put it in this weird case, and it didn't fit it, and I was like, I don't have time to mess with it. I'm just going to take it, and I'll return it later. And the case was like a keyboard case almost, and that thing's a big squarish thing. And it flopped right out onto the parking lot.
It was
and
the
I was
case's fault. It was the case's fault.
I thought I killed it, and then I got it in the door and plugged it in.
Man,
and fired right up.
Does it have a built-in amplifier in it?
It's a power, yeah.
So it's a powered mixer board. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's definitely old school stuff.
I don't even think I would know what to do with those iPad things, but I guess I could learn.
Yeah.
Everybody's always trying to talk me into it.
It's the same thing. I mean, it's less to haul.
Yeah.
People's rigs get smaller and smaller as they get, typically older and older.
That's the thing. I'm sort of stubbornly holding on to the idea that I can still pick up heavy things. So I just keep trying. If I'm tired, I try to find people to help me. But most of the time, I'll put my my speakers up on the sticks myself.
All right, so you run the band, you run the PA system for the band.
I'm my own roadie.
You front the band, you're singing, you're keeping the band happy as you can. You're booking, right? You're keeping everybody happy with gigs. That's the machine. And you know probably a lot of good venue owners, and you're able to book this band as many times as you have. You're in a good place, it seems.
I have to say something about Doug and Gina Vance. Really, Gina and Doug Vance. That own Gatsby's. I tell Gina regularly when I see her that she changed my life, because her bar is such a cool, welcoming place, and they provide this great atmosphere, and then like it changed my life being there. So I just never. So first and foremost, that's the place I like to play the most. I'm sorry everybody else, but it's just where I feel like family. It's so stupid and cliche, but so that's just that's the vibe. So
that's a good thing. Yeah, awesome. So is there a story behind that, how that relationship formed with Gatsby's? And
yeah, so I'm not very like ashamed to say or afraid to say I lost my sister in 2010, and I was not dealing with it very well, and because it was just sudden and shocking and horrible. So I was like not sober out in front of Gatsby's one night, and I had just gotten my first smartphone, and this is 2 years later or so. And I was listening to music on my phone and singing to the cars as they went by, just to see the look on people's faces, and because I just needed some levity in that moment, and so I'm not above entertaining myself. So a person came out while I was turned my back to the door and said something to me, and I turned around because I was embarrassed, and I was like, oh God, I got caught. And then this guy said, oh, that was great. Like, where do you perform? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. So he and I started talking, and then he said, well, if you're not singing somewhere, you need to come to our open mic. AJ Angelo hosts it. It's every Wednesday from whenever to whenever. And he said, and he just looked at my face, and I didn't look excited or anything. And he said, don't you know who AJ Angelo is? And I said, no. And he said, you're sitting in his bar. And I was like, well, I didn't grow up here. I don't know. I'm not from Gahanna. I just happened to get dumped there. And so I was unaware of the magical pink unicorn that I was going to come across a few months later when I finally got the nerve to go, because I had to do a lot of talking to myself. And most of it was bad, and I kept saying, no, you're not going to go because you can't play guitar and you don't know anything about like the scene, and you don't know anybody there, and like that you're being silly. I just kept talking myself out of it. And then one night I was home, and I was chewing on it, and I heard my sister's voice in my ear say, what are you waiting for? And then I just like went, and I just got up and told my husband I was going, because I realized it was a Wednesday and it was 7:00. So I walked in and I met AJ Angelo, and then that's the first time my life changed.
He's an awesome guy, man. He really is. He knows everybody. He's an incredible person.
He's nothing but love.
Yep, I totally agreed.
And he played guitar for me for the first 3 months. He didn't even bat an eyelash. He didn't act like, do you know who I am? He didn't say, I'll only play these songs. He said, look, I won't learn songs for you because I won't learn them for myself half the time. And so he said, I know about 400 songs. Any of those are at your service. You pick any of the songs I know, I will play it for you. So he just like made it so easy for me to feel comfortable.
Wow.
And he and Danny Lang are besties, and they were running it together at the time. And they were the ones that said, come back. And so then I started just making friends with people, and eventually I got an acoustic partner. And then my second one, Carl Bennett, was playing it with Eric Mosley at the time. And so that's how Eric and I had met, but he didn't know who I was. I was just yet another person he had met at a Jack show.
Yeah.
So then we started playing together right away. We just all clicked, and it was great. And then I ended up getting that's how I ended up in the first band. But I had a few different partners and so on. So
yeah, it's cool. And Eric, he's a really stellar player in town.
Yeah.
That's good good that he's another person that saw your talent and wanted to keep
Before I did.
supporting you, as did AJ and Danny Lang. I mean, I know Danny too. Danny and I used to work together actually for.
I call him my other
place in
husband
town.
most of the time.
Danny,
Yeah.
Oh God, and I love his music too.
Mm-hmm.
I try to hear him too. I'm surprised I haven't met you.
I am too. You're just one of those people. Like I said earlier, we've been orbiting each other, but we never like happen to run across one another.
That happened with Megabeth and I up until 4 years ago.
See, that's crazy.
It really is.
It is funny how some people you meet right away and some people you meet like 20 years later or whatever. And then some people you meet right away and you like right away, and then they crash and burn and you hate them and want them to go away. Some people stick around.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's really cool. And Gatsby's is such an iconic music supporting venue.
It changed my life twice.
Twice. What was the second time?
So the second time, my friend Amy, her husband went to college with Molly Pauken, and they played music together like I think every Friday night or something in their dorm. And little
cool.
baby Molly and her bass. Although I think she was playing drums too. Drums primarily at the time. And then, so anyway, I came to a Schwab show with them, and Amy dragged me over to Molly and introduced me and said, "You need to let her sing with you." And I was like, "What?" And I was having a panic attack. And then Molly is ever so casually just said, "Yeah, come and sing with us. What do you want to sing?" And at that time, the only thing I could sing without being nervous and like getting through without looking at an iPad was Me and Bobby McGee. And so that seemed to get me in a lot of places. And so I got to sing with John Schwab Party Band.
Oh, my gosh.
And then later, John said, "Come and sing with me on a Tuesday night," because I ran into him at a subsequent show. And Gina Vance was sitting on the back of the bar outside when that happened. And so she's the reason. So she booked me there first. I couldn't get Doug to slow down enough to see me, and I kept thinking, God, he's never gonna hear me.
Don't feel bad. He's that way with a lot of
Yes,
bands
he's on the
and
move.
musicians. He's a busy guy.
He's a very busy guy. But then Gina was just happened to be, because she liked to hang out for John's shows on Tuesday nights, and then that same night, his like full night guest was none other than Dylan Christian. Oh. Who's a human bolt of lightning for people who are not familiar. And I'm just standing there when I finally go up on stage between the two of them, watching both of them, like, what is happening? Like, I felt like my head was going to spin off my body.
Yeah.
And, just trying to take a stage next to Dylan Christian is crazy. But now I just feel like they're like my buddies, and I just adore all four, I guess, of those. They're so special to me, and I've gotten to spend some really good quality time with them. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
I'm really spoiled. I'm lucky.
Luck. I think luck is an interesting concept.
But look at all those things that had to line up.
They lined up though, but I think it's because you allowed yourself to chance, happenstance. You open yourself up to opportunity, and then people recognize that natural ability, and they encouraged you and mentored you to. There's so many people like that in this town that it's amazing. And look at you today. My God, it's freaking awesome. It really is.
It's really cool. I mean, this has saved me in so many ways, and
music has a way of doing that, man.
Yeah, like I don't. It's so cliche to say this too, but I feel more myself when I'm singing than I'm doing anything. I mean, maybe like if my kids are sitting on either side of me and we're sitting and giggling, I can say I feel myself, but it's just the easiest way I can be like my
Who
whole
you
me
are.
And not be afraid.
That's really cool to hear you actually share that, and that is you're blessed to be able to exercise that and find that.
Just the idea that what your thing is I know, it was huge. Like and that's why if I could do the look back and talk to my younger self, I'd be like, don't you dare stop singing. But I hid it for the longest time.
Well, how did music start for you?
Oh God. My parents, for sure, they liked the weirdest collection of music between the two of them. Their music was the same as their personalities, total opposites, but interesting meeting in the middle. And so, like when they could get along, but my mom liked show tunes and, like pop music and early Beatles, and my dad liked the late Beatles and beatnik stuff and jazz, and would sit me in a dark room and we would listen to, Coltrane for 2 hours or whatever. It was really cool to get that. That was my bonding, was with my dad, with his music. And he also liked ridiculous oompa music and Heino from Germany, who was like a terrible German pop singer because he was a German teacher, and he just dug it. Like, it was like so cheesy. It was like Shatner. But anyway, so I just always kind of picked up from there, and I would sit and listen to their records in their den when I was 5 years old, because I am one of 4 kids. And it was noisy in my house, and there was no place to be alone. And so I would just creep in there, and I could play music and shut the door and be alone for a little while. And it was so great. And I would listen to the Everly Brothers and like just different Mamas and the Papas and ABBA and like all this crazy shit.
You had all that going on in your house. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we did things to music, like it was just always there. And then I learned how to play clarinet in school because I just picked a random instrument. I had no criteria. And I was too young to say I wanted to sing yet. I was in the choir, and then when I was 12, I got a solo in the choir in the play. And I had to like win it. You had to audition. That was a pretty huge, like, holy shit, I'm going to stand in front of the school and do this. And I just had the nerve that moment. And then like I practiced for 3 months. It was one line. When I look at my mom the night of, I choked and I just like lost my nerve. And then she didn't think I could sing. So she said, well, you shouldn't sing anymore. You can't sing. Just sing in the choir. It's okay.
Yeah.
And so for the rest of the time I lived at home, everybody was like, you can't sing, Gabrielle. Like, people were always like trying to shut me up. I'd be in the car singing, and like, yeah, I was probably a little too overenthusiastic, but still. And so I got this stuck in my head that I couldn't sing, and so I wouldn't sing. And then I would play clarinet, and I was first chair, and I was like getting better and better and better. But I hated it, and I was miserable, and I was bored. It's kind of the same as other things. But so I just put it aside. And then when I was in college, like fast forward, I worked at this silly little bar that like my friend had bought, and I was working there for food and drinks like after my other shift at the hotel. I would go to the Hyatt, work there, and stop on the bus stop and just like take a few hours so that he could take a break. And there was a house band, and I got to know them, and I started talking to the bass player. And one night there was like some noise going on from an OSU game or something, and I just didn't want to be by myself, so I said, can you just hang out with me? And so I locked the door, and then I flip on my music, because all night I was listening to like I Got Friends in Low Places and wanting to kill myself. And so I flip on Indigo Girls and just start singing while I'm doing the glassware and whatever. And he was like, do you write music? And I said, well, not really, but I've written poetry since I was 14. So we ended up like writing 10 songs together. I would come out from behind the bar, sing a few songs with them. And I sang all these weird random, like half of it was Nirvana, a couple of not Sugar Cubes, Lemonheads songs.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a shame about Ray had come out.
The 90s, right?
We listened to that nonstop.
It was the 90s.
Yeah. Total 90s.
It was the 90s.
This one gig of ours, or what theirs, something was happening with the PA and the sound went out, and so they're sitting there fiddling with because they had nothing new. It was all garbage that they threw together, So one of them just said, do something, entertain them, and then I started singing "No Rain." just said like, okay, everybody click your fingers with me. And then I just started singing, and then everyone in the room sang that with me.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was
those are fun moments.
That was a really good one. I have several non-band ones and then a bunch of band ones. I keep those in my...
They keep. Do you want to share any more of those?
So I met the Conspiracy when I was bartending at a country club
man.
at Brookside. I don't know if I'm supposed to say, but Brookside Country Club up in Worthington, and they were one of the only good bands that came through. There was all these horrible
Conspiracies. They're awesome.
This was in the 90s.
Rodney.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Rodney, I've told the story a million times, but the part that always makes me laugh, and nobody can ever quite get the visual imagery. The weekend before, we had Mr. and Mrs. DJ. Mr. and Mrs. DJ played like line dances all night long, and Mrs. DJ would get up on a table and try to teach all the white people in the country club how to do the line dances. And then she would usually look over at me because I'd be the only person in the room at this point. They would have cleared dinner, and I'm the only person who's even there. Everybody else went off to take a break or went home. She'd look over at me and say, "Lady bartender, would you like to do the electric slide with us?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't. I'm working. I'm not allowed to participate." And then the very following weekend, because I was like, over my dead body. But over the following weekend, Conspiracy came. And I was back there, like, just getting down and having a ball and singing along with them. And so then I smoked at that point full time. And so I went outside with them and was chit-chatting with Rodney. And I said, like, I just, like, started spewing, like, about Otis Redding and about this and about... I don't even know what I was talking about. And he just looks at me and goes, "Are you a musician by any chance? You're a little excited." And I said, "Well, no, but I just love music." And he's like, "Come on, you can sing, can't you? I can tell." And I was like, "Well, I don't know. Yeah, I like to sing." I said I was in a band for a minute. And then he was like, "Okay, next time you come to one of my shows, just come up and tell me, and I will, like, you come sing with us." And I was just like, "What?"
That's so cool of him. That really is.
It really is. He didn't even know what I could do.
Well, but
he hadn't heard me sing.
He knows enough, though. He has that little
It was weird.
inner voice and insight, I think.
Yeah, I mean, most people say to me, "I didn't know you could sing from hearing you talk." I mean, no offense, but it's pretty funny. Anyway, so 6 months later, I was running or working at a restaurant as a manager up at Tuttle Crossing, owned by Brinker International. We had a Christmas party with all of the restaurants owned by them, which was Chili's, On the Border, Macaroni Grill, and my place, and Cozy Mills. And so we go to the Christmas party at Flanagan's on Sawmill. And I walk in, and it says, like, a big chalkboard, your special guest, the Conspiracy Band. And I was like, "What?" And so I was running around looking for him, and I ran up to Rodney and I said, "Do you remember me?" And he smiled really big. He goes, "Lady bartender." And I was like, "Oh my God, you do." And so he said, "What do you want to come sing with us?" So getting to sing with them was a big one.
No doubt.
That's a huge one. And then even before that, I was working at this place in Cleveland, and they had bands and then karaoke on Saturday nights. So really weird random acts would come through, and the Drifters came through. And it's like, one original guy. It's that usual deal, but they still sounded fantastic. And it's the Drifters.
It's Cleveland.
Yeah. So, and I was working in this place in the suburbs in Brecksville. So I'm sitting on my break because I'm doing a double that day. And I'm just like sitting between shifts, just like feet up, like reading the paper, listening to them. And I hear them warming up, and they're doing their just like drills and whatever. They start singing a couple of Temptations songs, and they sing Just My Imagination. And I'm sitting over on the side, just like fully getting into it and singing along, because I don't think they're going to pay any attention to little old me.
But they were.
And then then they started singing Papa Was a Rolling Stone. And the one guy just went, "Hold on," and stopped the whole thing. And he's like, "Are you a singer?" And then so they asked me to come over, and I got to sing with the Drifters. I did not get to sing on stage with the Drifters, but I did not care. That was just as good.
That's beautiful.
So we sang Papa Was a Rolling Stone together.
Oh my gosh. That's a fun tune to play with, with a group
with
of folks.
with 4 other guys with ridiculous voices. Yeah.
With those guys in particular, give me a break. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
It was like I was singing it with the Temptations for all of me. I didn't care. They were amazing. I was like 21.
Living in Cleveland. So you were born in
from
Cleveland.
Cleveland. I came here to go to Ohio State. I had to drop out for a year and a half, so I went back home. That was when this happened.
Oh, gotcha.
And I don't think anyone in my family even knows that happened. Maybe.
Somebody in there probably does, right?
I don't know. I would imagine I would have wanted to tell my mom, but I don't know. She probably would have been like, whatever.
So are you, you then eventually what brought you back to Columbus, though? Were you,
So I came back to finish my degree.
Okay.
I was hell-bent. I was like, I wanted to be a restaurant manager, but which I didn't need it, but it was important to me to get a degree, so yeah. So I came back and... and
it was at Ohio State that you finished? Yeah.
I met my husband 10 days after I came back here.
Nice.
And then then when was it, 95? So 15 years later, and that whole time, so like from the time that band stopped, and then for about 20 years, I just sang karaoke, like I said. And so then I just kept telling myself I wasn't a singer. I kept saying, well, I'm not. I don't look like Sheryl Crow. Nobody's going to give me a recording contract. Like, I thought I had to get a recording contract to be a singer. So silly. But I didn't have any faith in myself, and I didn't know how to do anything. So I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to ask. Younger people on campus were very, like they got really awkward.
Avant-garde.
Yeah, if you even asked a guy if he played guitar, he thought you were trying to get in his pants. So it was like, I don't know what to do with you.
What do you expect?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not.
No offense to the Buckeyes, right? But I mean,
yeah, it was definitely the environment, right?
Bros, right?
Yeah.
All over the
I don't know if I wanted any of those people anyway, but so I just
I know we've all had our I got it.
It took a long time, and then I sort of have this idea in my head that my sister gave me music to help me get through. Coming
back to the getting you to Gatsby's and Gahanna.
Yeah.
For that open mic with Angelo. Yeah. Bringing it all together for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's so awesome. What a great story. And here you are today running your own band.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you learned the hard way. Yeah,
That's
we all,
how I
a lot
learn
of us
everything.
learned. I learned the music thing the very hard way. Just all that. And there's a lot of bands out there that did too. And then you don't know until you get there or around there. What's possible, what's not possible. What to do, what not to do. I mean, I made a million mistakes. I just didn't know. Experience is a good thing,
And just this has given me, I believe in myself when I'm doing something. Not everything, but it helps leach into everything else.
Yeah, it sure does.
And it's such a huge, heroin high, but it's bigger than that. It's that whole idea of me being my whole self is me showing myself to myself and being okay with it.
Yep. I can totally relate to that. I mean, completely. I mean, just your singing is coming from a deeper place. You're not just singing a song. You're not just performing a song. You're revealing yourself. That's awesome.
That's why the name of the band is Soul Revival.
Oh yeah, there you go.
It's a lyric from that song "My Church," ironically a country song, but a friend of mine, Brad Moore, told me that I should sing "My Church."
The Brad Moore?
Yes. Bradley Weston Moore.
Of Buckeye Lake fame.
Yeah, Buckeye Lake fame. And Mr. Swing, anybody else who doesn't know him.
The Lonely Boys.
Yes, and the Lonely Boys. I like to call him the package because before I knew him very well, every single person who you talk to, oh yeah, Brad Moore, he's the total package. He's good looking, he's cool, he's funny, he's got a great voice, he can play guitar, he's awesome, he's the total package. So then I just thought it would be hilarious to make that his nickname Just call them the package.
It is hilarious, and I think that's worth noting. It'll probably show up as a highlight in your episode. Perfect. Will come the package, and that
Sorry,
of
Tammy,
course is going to be.
Don't be mad.
Tammy's the coolest.
Yeah, she is the coolest.
They came over one night, and I couldn't believe he was able to make the time. I mean, he booked like you. I think I talked to you in January, I think, and here we are in May.
Well, you're busier than me, yeah.
That's how it is. I mean, just it is. But anyway, Brad Moore is the one that gets the credit for you to take a look at a country song. Is that what it was?
So Maren Morris had just come out with My Church, and it was her Grammy winner on her first, I don't know if she had an album before that or not, but that was her big hit, her first big hit, and she got a Grammy for it. And the lyric is, I find my soul revival singing every single verse. Yeah, I guess that's my church. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my God. And that's what went on the list. I was just in the middle of trying to name the band.
It just walked you through your journey.
And it was that's how I feel about music too. That's exactly how I feel about it. And so, so if I wouldn't have heard that song, and I would have never listened to that if he hadn't told me to.
That's beautiful.
So, it's very cool.
Yeah, that's a very beautiful story.
Yeah, and because music revives your soul.
Yeah, it does, and that's what you're sharing. This is so meaningful. It's very deep, and I can't wait to see the performance too, because I'm sure it just exemplifies everything you're talking about. You're revealing your passion of expressing your gift. It's awesome.
It's just really my love. It sounds so cheesy, but that's just because I'm giving from a place of just and I just want to share that with people. It just gives me more happiness and more joy. So it's I just want to.
Yeah, and people that get it, understand that, are gonna really appreciate that too.
And I've met 8,000 of those people. It's been so incredible.
Yeah. It really is incredible, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Makes me want to get an acoustic guitar and belt out a tune with you. Really, we should probably maybe we'll do that when we're done here. But I just I'm so happy to hear your story too, because I mean,
Thank you.
Who knew? I mean, there's such
every
a
person
great
I know.
story. Yeah, but there's many like myself that didn't.
Yeah.
Until you made the time to sit down here and kind of talk us through your journey of music.
It's such a
life.
I can tell you so many sad stories. This is my happiest story next to my kids, and this is a huge deal for me to get to do this. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. So welcome.
It's been such a cool so many things you get broken when you go the wrong way in life, and it just puts it all back together so fast.
Yep, it can. Yep, and it's wonderful to hear that's happening with you. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
So awesome.
And then the punchline, I get randomly invited to join this Women Who Rock group.
That was my next area that I thought that I'd like to have you kind of weigh in on. I mean, you're aware of it and you're a part of it. How long have you been a part of that group?
I almost don't want to talk about it because I feel I want it to be my own little thing. But not that long. I got invited maybe in the last 6-8 months. And for the longest time, I couldn't go to anything. And I was first I'm what is this? You don't know what all these things are. And I was oh, Nikki. Yeah. Radio City. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because she's a total famous rock star. And Kelly right away I recognized, but I was I've never met her. I hadn't met Nikki either, but Nikki and I definitely knew each other through Facebook because everybody, and we all know a lot of the same people. It's very Peyton Place in a way, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting.
It's a log of events.
Yeah, it's your online
people
journal.
That come and go.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of the things. I'm gonna start some name dropping here and there. You're just gonna have to deal with it. But Gary Jorgensen is a drummer. I guess he was the original drummer for the Jack. I found out later he was the J in the Jack. Gary is such a cool guy, and I was like, God damn, you're a good drummer. And he and I like to just chat up drummers. I have a thing for drums, and I wish I could play all 4 drums. I can play a drum or a tambourine. I can't do like a set.
kick and a snare.
No, I can't. No, it ends up being like an oompa. But I just am in awe of drummers. They're just always the coolest guy in the band, as far as I'm concerned. So we were just chatting, and he ended up drumming with me a couple times, which was really, really cool. And I completely forget the point of telling you about him, but yeah, he's just a lot of fun.
Shout out.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Gary Jorgensen. He was one of the people that like encouraged me and was kind to me, and could have been another like, do you know who I am?
Was it something about the Central Ohio Women Who Rock?
Yeah, probably, but I still lost
okay,
it.
because that's where we were. Yeah, that's a great group.
But yeah, I ended up getting to know. Oh, that's it. He used to call me Facebook friend. He'd be
Boom.
like, "Hello, Facebook friend."
There you go.
And so I thought that was really funny because I was like, "Come on, man, we're real friends." And he'd be like, "I guess so." But yeah, just a lot of people that you end up getting to see like more. Back in the day, you didn't always have to see like politics and garbage, but yeah, it's the people that I've connected with has been insane. And then the women inviting me, I don't even know who decided to invite me, but I just started getting more looking over the wall at it.
Yeah,
Very
I think
curious.
they have scouts. I think they have scouts.
Maybe.
And, they're just such a highly supportive group. And,
yeah, and then getting to go and be around all that feminine energy, going from being a person who wasn't very easily trusting of women to that, and having like the crazy like love energy going around the room.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah, it's genuine.
Mm-hmm. Totally safe.
Yeah,
totally safe. In fact,
I would definitely.
There's a person.
Agree with that.
I don't know her name, thankfully, and I wouldn't say it if I did. But there's a person that hangs out in the one place we've been going, and she's not very nice. And I saw her, like, the person who she wasn't nice to told me about it. 2 seconds later, all the girls were like, "What's she doing here?" And then they were all excited because she got cut out of the picture that we all took together. It was like so fantastically cool. It was the opposite of Mean Girls. These ladies were all like, "We will cut her." Like, they did not. It was so great. And I was like, yeah, good. Don't be like that to people. So it's the opposite of letting somebody be mean to another person.
Good girls.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Talk about water in the pool.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all good. Anything else that you want to clue us in on?
Oh, God, I think I told you everything.
Gabrielle Johnston. Soul Revival.
Yep. We play a little of everything. We play Gatsby's like once a month, once every other month.
Oh, so that's a regular gig.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
And then, so that's the most often. And then the Corner in Pickerington and Blarney Stone and Leaping Lizards in Hilliard occasionally.
Beautiful.
So it's still looking for more regular hangs. But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool thing. And like I said, we play a little bit of everything because everybody asks me that. It's a bit of a booyah bass. But I think there's always something for everyone, and there's several songs you can dance to, and there's a little Marvin Gaye. And so there's just a lot of things to choose from.
And songs you can get behind, right?
I mean, yes.
Yeah. You can make them learn those tunes.
And it's not the same stuff as everybody else.
No, it doesn't seem as though it is, but it's stuff that's meaningful to you. And if it's meaningful to you and you can feel it, it's going to be a great performance.
That is what I'm after. I just want you to feel what I feel. And so if I do that, then I've done my job.
Well, thanks for doing that.
My pleasure.
Freaking awesome. All right, Gabrielle Johnston of Soul Revival, episode number 73. Thank you so much. It was great to meet you tonight.
Same.
And, good luck this year, 2024. You got some great gigs coming up.
Thank you.
Give them a listen. Check them out. Like them on Facebook. We'll put a link in the episode description.
And for those of you under 30, we're on Instagram as well.
Oh, I'll be able to tag you with all my little marketing on your episode. You'll be tagged. You'll be there
Sweet.
forever. It's perfect. I have to show you how to get to these podcasts
yeah.
too, because you have some friends.
Yes, I do.
They have great episodes, man. Right, y'all. Thank you so much, and thanks for listening. Bye-bye.